the sadness we all feel about losing Betty.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah, it's, it's been it's sort of that, they're seeing the bright side. It's been really, nice to hear from, the fans of the
Yeah.
show, just how devastated they are and how they never lost, like, the love for the show. And,
Yeah.
there have been ups and downs, and ultimately, you know what you're getting into when you start a television show.
Yeah.
You never know when the end is coming. But I'm grateful that we at least had the time that we had to kind of wrap things up,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of do justice to these characters and her and Betty's story that we've been setting up for years. And I'm happy with the way that it's gonna kind of all come together in the end, and wrap it up for her. And hopefully people will want more, and maybe we'll come back in to Ugly Betty the movie and see
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
what life after this show um, brought for this character and all these characters that I think we have an audience that just is in love with. So
How do you feel? I mean, because it is sort of not a rush, but they are having to tie up a lot of loose ends. Are there any story arcs that are being a little bit forced through a little bit to kind of make sure it ties up at the end?
I mean, there's always that feeling of okay, how do we get to
Yeah.
the end? But I think that we were very conscious of not just jumping to a conclusion that didn't feel right or natural to the progression. And one of my concerns from the very beginning of the show was always, I don't want this show to end without Betty transforming, like, inside and outside. And for me, this character was always a transformative character. It was always a story about a girl who starts in a very green place and becomes, owns herself, and,
Yeah.
and owns her skin and her body and her womanhood and her confidence and her career and her life. And so that was always what was so appealing to me about the character and the story. And so I was always in Silvio's office, Silvio, our creator, saying, okay, if this is the last season, how are we going to end it?
Yeah.
If this is the last season, where are we going? So we've been very conscious of it from the beginning, just because it was always a possibility that it would be the last season. And so when it was, we kind of already had planned for, if this is the last season, where do we want to see her go?
Because she just took her braces off, right?
She, in I think next week's episode,
Yeah.
next Wednesday, her braces come off, which is huge for her.
And there was more of a monochromatic neutral outfits last.
Yeah. I mean, they mentioned something about that, but for me, I've always loved that. Even though Betty, she's worked at a fashion magazine for 4 years, she would pick some things.
Yes.
That she doesn't lose, like, what makes her Betty. That she's not just girl in a all black